Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Little River, South Carolina, visiting North Strand Nissan, and I'm checking out a 2021 Nissan Kicks in the SR trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 205/55 Firestone tires, wrapped around 17-inch alloy wheels with a gloss metallic gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Boulder Gray Pearl. And the sun is shining right now. There's a little bit of a metal flake, kind of a multicolor metal flake in the paint. Hopefully the camera was able to pick it up, but I just want to point that out just in case you don't see it. So here in the front, it's mostly a gloss black grille, and this lower part, so all this is a gloss black here, and then the lower part is a flat black, and then you have a chrome piece here at the very bottom. Now the Nissan badging also serves as the adaptive radar cruise control system sensor. So there's a little sensor behind the badging. Just below that is a camera, a little GoPro type camera, real wide view, and this is part of the 360 surround view system, which is really helpful. Now there's a chrome piece that kind of underscores the headlights here, and on top of the headlights as well. So you can see the headlight plastic continues there on the side and on the top of the vehicle. There's a gloss black bezel around the fog light as well. Now the headlights and fog lights, all the exterior lights here on the front, are powered by LEDs. So it's a multi-reflector for your low and your high beams, also a daytime running light there in the center. Turn signals are LEDs. Also your fog lights are an LED in a projector type focused beam. You'll notice that flat black plastic continues around each wheel well and at the base of the vehicle all the way around, and then there's a metallic accent there on the side. Now this is interesting, the pillars, all the pillars are a flat black here, and the front pillar, the A pillar, is also flat black as well, and this is intended to separate this roof design. So they call it like a free floating type of roof. So it kind of like separates it from the rest of the vehicle and gives it kind of a distinct look. Now that's all a flat black. The only gloss black here is the side mirror. Now the side mirror also has one of those cameras on the underside of it. On both sides, both side mirrors have a camera on the underside for that surround view, 360 view camera system. This is what the key looks like, and if you're familiar with Nissan at all, then you will know that they've used the same key design for several years and years and years. And I can see why, because it is a sleek, relatively small key, this lightweight. It does have a physical key here on the inside, but it's just real easy to carry with you without being too cumbersome. Now it does have some very large, useful buttons: remote start, lock, unlock, and a panic button. Let's go ahead and push that. Interesting sounding horn considering the vehicle. So as long as you have this key with you, you can use the vehicle 100%. It can be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity to the outside of either the driver or the passenger side door. You can use this button right here to lock or unlock it. So right now it's unlocked. We push the button, it'll lock the vehicle. Now you can see it's locked. Push it again, now it'll unlock. So it's just simple. It's the same button to push to lock and unlock. So it's a good idea to check to make sure it's locked and you're not actually unlocking it. There's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only. The doors go almost all the way down, so you can see it doesn't quite make it, but it's close to the very bottom. And it does have a door seal here at the very bottom, in addition to the regular door seal, to try to keep the threshold clean. Here's the inside of the passenger side door. So it's mostly a hard touch black plastic. So you can see even up here, down here is all a hard touch plastic. This is a soft touch cloth material around the armrest, and it's a different color. In this case, it's a red. It's like an orangey red. And then there is a little, this is the handle, but you can utilize that as a little storage pocket as well. And then you have the larger pockets there at the bottom. Now this has the blind spot indicator system and the indicators here in the pillar, as opposed to some of them have it in the mirror. And there's a speaker here at the bottom. Manually adjusted seats here on the passenger side, cloth, black, and it does have that same reddish orangish color stitching there on the sides. Then it has this patterned, kind of like a smooth cloth there in the center part, like a microfiber type cloth. Here's the floorboard, and you can see there's a little bit of tapering going on here on the right side, and then there's quite a bit of a swoop up, so that way you can, it's kind of like a big footrest, I guess you can say. This is all a hard touch plastic here at the bottom. It's a non-locking glove compartment, smooth plastic on the inside. Hey, and look at there, there's a tow hook that screws into the bumper behind the little square covers. This is a soft touch surface here with a stitching in a French design, that same color you saw on the door, and then a hard touch surface here on the dash. Considering the size of the vehicle, look at the amount of entry space you have for passengers. So the front door is just really big and wide open space, plenty of headroom, and just overall easy to get in and out. The back door is pretty good as well. Of course, the bottom part, because of the wheel well and all that stuff, kind of shrinks that area. But look, they extend it all the way out as far as they can for the headspace, so you can get in the vehicle. It doesn't have like this huge pillar that you have to kind of get around. Now, the only thing I could say is that the swing of the door is not quite as wide as maybe it could be. It could be a little bit wider. So you can see the swing of the door in the front is similar, but you have a much bigger opening. So if you were to have the swing of this door a little bit wider, then it might help out a little bit, especially considering the space is smaller here at the bottom. The inside of the back door, pretty much very similar styling, hard touch surfaces. You have the cloth around the armrest, little pocket at the top, and then a bottle holder at the bottom. Very similar as the front. Much smaller threshold at the bottom. And you have the cloth seats back here with the same styling. It does have the latch system for car seats, or ISOFIX. On the back of the passenger side seat, there is a pocket, but not on the driver's side. Here's the floorboard. Pretty good amount of space here. It does have a small hump in the middle, not a big deal. And then you have two USB charge ports. Now these are regular USB ports, the one that most people are familiar with. So you can see those. So you can charge a device, and there's two of them, so you don't have to fight so much over them, especially on a long trip. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, let's start here with the top. It has gloss black roof rails and then a body colored shark fin antenna. And a little spoiler right in here, and there's a third brake light integrated in the top of the glass. The wiper is here at the bottom, so it's a swing up, and there's a washer here at the very top. Now the tail lights are LED, but your turn signal and reverse lights are standard bulbs. So the tail lights and brake lights are LED, but the other two, turn signal and reverse lights are standard bulbs. The backup camera is just ever so slightly offset, so it's right here, just enough to kind of annoy me. And it's one of those that kind of like it's kind of in this low, non-integrated, tacked on looking position. I think it would have been better if they had it up here integrated under the badging, similar to the front, somewhere where it doesn't look like it's just kind of tacked on like an aftermarket deal. Also, since it has the 360 camera system, if it was in the very center of the vehicle, both this way in the center and also up and down, like that in that where that badging is, it would help with the stitching and the visibility around the vehicle. There is parking sensors back here, and they're kind of hidden in this black portion. So you can see there's one right here. Now these are reflectors here at the bottom. Those are not lights. The exhaust is visible, but not super, like it's not hidden that great, but it is kind of intended to be a hidden exhaust. So let's go ahead and lift up the lift gate. So there's a button under here, and you'll notice that the button is not even centered. So you have your camera offset, your button offset, and then there's your tag lights, which are LED. It's kind of dished out there on the inside with a hard plastic. So if you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is your cargo space. And you can see it has a nice good depth to it and height, pretty much. It's a really substantial amount of cargo space, really. There is one light, kind of dim light here on the right side. So the interior lights at night aren't all that great, but it does have some tie downs. There's one right here behind this cover. You can see that's a tie down. You have a bag holder here, one on each side. You can also put a rigid shade, not the kind that slide in and out, but the kind of just kind of lay there. That can be added to this vehicle. You can see it has a little place to accommodate that here. Okay, so under this carpet, you can see it has this floor. And when you lift it up, it's kind of like a floppy, thin piece, but it's relatively strong when you lower it all the way down. It's resting on top of this styrofoam piece. And that styrofoam piece houses your tools and your spare tire, kind of keep them from rattling around. And there's a tiny bit of space around it in case you want to add some more tools or whatever. Now you can fold these seats down. It's a 60-40 split, and there's the split right here. So you can fold down one seat or the other to add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space, or you can fold both of them down and really add a tremendous amount of cargo space back here. Now the load floor is higher where the seats are folded versus the actual cargo area, but it does add a lot more room. There's a locking fuel door, and it's here on the driver's side. And it has a traditional cap, tether, and a little place to hang that tether here when we're pumping gas. So when we take the cap off, just take that little tether and extend it away from the vehicle while you're pumping gas. As long as you have the key inside the vehicle, and can be in your pocket in a bag, as long as it's inside the vehicle, put your foot on the brake, hold it, and push this button to start it up. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice that the floor mat has places to hook in, 2 places, so that way it doesn't slide around on you or get sideways. There's the accelerator and brake pedal. A footrest here on the far left, just carpeted. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there is a latch in the very center. So you just reach in, and right above the emblem, right in here, just move it to the left and lift up. You can see there's the latch right there, and it is yellow, so you can see it if you need to look for it. And it's relatively heavy hood here, so you want to be prepared for that. And it does require a prop to hold it up. The prop is on the underside of the hood right here on the left side, and it swings down to that little hole where the arrow is pointing. There is part of the underside of the hood has some insulation there. There is a seal across the back of the engine compartment here at the top. You also have insulation there on the firewall and some heat shielding since the exhaust is back there. So this is a 4-cylinder engine, front-wheel drive. So you can see the orientation of the engine. This is the front, this is the back. The transmission is down here. Your battery, which has some insulation around it, is over here. It's easy to get to, which is nice. The fresh air intake comes here in the front, and the exhaust flows out the back. That's why they have so much heat shielding back there, to keep the heat from transferring to the cabin. This vehicle is powered by a 1.6-liter dual overhead cam 4-cylinder engine and paired to a Xtronic CVT continuously variable transmission. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So you have your power windows here. The fronts here are automatic, one touch up and down. So you can see how fast they go there. Door lock controls are here. Side mirrors are adjusted. You just pick a side and adjust it with that little pad. Manually adjusted seats here for the driver as well, but the driver has a height adjustment in addition to the sliding forward and back and the tilt the back. To the left of the steering column, there is this neat little pocket right here. It goes in there quite a bit. And it has this little lip on the edge to keep things from flying out when you floor it. It has a tilt and a telescoping steering column that you lock in place right here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out. And I have the seat all the way back and all the way down. And this is the legroom here. Now it's actually just slightly too far back for me to drive properly. I mean, I can touch the pedals, but if it was a little bit forward, it would be a little bit better. So I'm 6 feet tall, just to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. I would say it's pretty good for the size of the vehicle. Here's the steering wheel, and it's a synthetic leather wrap with a flat bottom, looking pretty cool. Stitching there on the inside, it matches the rest of the stitching in the vehicle. Has some little bit of grips, bolstering, and it gives a little bit in the hand. The thickness is decent. It could be a little bit thicker, but it's a decent steering wheel. You can tell that this is a synthetic leather. It's very obvious the way it feels, and it's a little bit slippery. But it is new as well. Okay, so here on the right side is the cruise control. So you can turn it on, set, resume, cancel. It also has the adaptive radar cruise control, in which you can set the distance between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you by pushing this button. You can cycle through and get the desired distance. You also have voice recognition and the ability to answer and hang up right here when you're in a call. On the left side, this is your volume for your radio. This is to change through, so right now it'll change through my presets on my radio, but depending on what audio source you're using, it could be just changing through your tracks or whatever. And then you have a back button here, which corresponds with the screen between the gauges. So do these buttons, arrow and OK. We'll get to that in just a minute, but just remember those are the control buttons there. Windshield wiper controls are here on the right side, and on the left side is your turn signal, but it also has your headlight controls. So you have off, parking, headlights, and then automatic. And then your fog lights are controlled here. Here's the gauges, and it's actually one physical gauge. So this one on the right is a physical speedometer. And there's this button here. When you push that, it cycles through your odometer to your trips. You have 2 trips, A and B, and you can reset those independently. Also, if you turn this, it adjusts your brightness. So that's what that little knob right there does. So here is a screen on the left side. So it kind of simulates a tachometer, but it's actually this screen. You can see where there's a glare on that screen. It's not a big deal in person, but the camera is kind of making it a big deal. So it has outside temperature, what gear you're in. Right now it's showing the tachometer, the RPMs. Also it's showing the distance to empty as well, and then your fuel gauge is here at the bottom. But we can use these buttons on the steering wheel. Remember these buttons I showed you before. So there's a back button, OK, and then arrows. So right now, I'm going to scroll to the right so you can see these little icons right here change. And depending, I can just rest on the one I want. I'm just going to cycle through all of them real fast. First one is your tachometer, RPM. Scrolling to the right will be whatever your radio is doing. Right again will show you your fuel economy. So you can scroll up and down to get 2 different displays here. So it'll give you an average and a real time, and you can reset this. So like right now the vehicle's just sitting in the parking lot, so the average is going to be skewed. That's not accurate. Scrolling to the right again, this shows you your adaptive radar, cruise control, and your safety systems. So you can see these little bubbles right here showing we have more stuff that we can scroll down to. So we scroll down, driving aids. So this also has your blind spot detection system as well, and rear cross traffic alert. A digital speedometer will be here. You notice how small it is though, kind of small. All right. Drive computer, you can reset that of course. Tire pressure will show up when you're driving. Coolant temperature. So the next one is the chassis control. When you push the OK button on this one, it gives you the ability to turn off or on the active trace control or the active engine braking. So just go back out of that. Now you don't have to have all these different things here. When we go to the right into the settings icon, we can go to customize display, and we can change, like say, main menu selection. We can check or uncheck these different options here. So if we want to take chassis control and deselect it, now it's not going to show up here. So when we scroll down, it's not going to be there. So we can customize this to some extent. All right, we also have other settings, to customize the display, eco information, welcome effect, if we want that or not. We're going to adjust the clock, the language, and then we're going to reset it to the factory settings. And then it goes back to the original icon, which is this. So if you wanted the digital speedometer, you can have that. Any of these different displays that you want has that capability. You just kind of scroll through and decide what you want. Alrighty, so over here, there is the vents, and then right in the center of the vents is the 4-way flashers. It's not super visible, but it is there. And here is the touchscreen. It does have a physical volume knob and tune through the stations as well. We push this menu button. It takes us to this main screen in which you have these different shortcuts here at the bottom. And then it shows you whatever your radio is doing. You can change the audio source here, AM, FM, satellite radio, USB 1, USB 2, and Bluetooth. Go back out of that. And we have a phone, we can pair it. Once we pair it, it'll have access to our phone calls, recent calls, all that stuff. We can just use our voice to make it to call somebody, basically. And then the audio is here, and it has presets here at the bottom. Radio, Bluetooth audio, USB. Go to our settings. Also has the ability to have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You just have to plug in the device. Information, this will be just basic information about the system here, the software and stuff. Then you have your settings, in which you can have clock, you can set that. You can adjust your sound, you can have beeps if you want to have beeps when you push the buttons and stuff like that. Also, camera settings will be found under here as well. The camera is pretty cool. And speaking of the camera, let's go ahead and push the camera button over here. And right now it's showing the front view, so what's in front of the vehicle. It has active guidelines as well. And then you have this top-down view. So you can see it has the front view, the sides, and then the back. Now when we put it in reverse, I'm going to do that. Now it'll give us the backup camera view instead of the front. And then we maintain that view there on the side. So you can see it's very distorted and stretched out, but it gives you the best visibility that way. But it's not like true to life, of course, because it's so stretched out. Alright, so down here is the climate control. So it has temperature, fan speed, where you want the air to blow, front and rear defrosters. You can turn it on or off. It also has automatic mode, so when you push that, it'll adjust you just set the temperature you want, it'll adjust the fan speed and everything automatically. But I'll just go ahead and turn that off. I don't want the fan blowing too much while we're doing this video. Okay, so down in here is a little storage compartment. And so it has a place to put your cell phone right in here, a USB standard, and a USB-C here, 12-volt power supply, electronic parking brake, and auto hold, so this will hold the vehicle still when you come to a complete stop. If you have that activated, it does have an on light, so you know it's on. The vehicle will hold the brake until you push the accelerator, then it'll release it. This is a rubberized surface right here, so if you put your cell phone in there, it's not going to slide around too much. So here's the shifter, and pretty self-explanatory. There's reverse, neutral, drive, and then you have a low gear ratio. So that way if you need to, even though this is a CVT, it doesn't really technically have gears, it has speed ratios. So this is at low range, so that way if you need to use engine braking for going down a hill, keep it from going too fast or whatever, you can do that. There's also this little button right here. This cycles sport mode. When you have it in drive and you push that button, you can see a little S that pops out, and it shows you that you're putting it in sport mode. So that's all it does. It just toggles sport mode on or off. Okay, so here's some cup holders, and it has this these little side pieces here that you can see. It goes down there quite a ways, so if you don't want to put a cup down there, it goes all the way down, it's hard to get out. It has these kind of lift them up so they don't do that. You also have the ability to just take this out and utilize this space for other stuff besides cups. It's just like a storage compartment at that point. So you have those capabilities there. Okay, so here's your armrest, and it's quite soft. It does bottom out though. You can feel it bottom out after about a ½ inch or so, but it is nice and soft on top. Has some stitching here. Now you notice the stitching on this armrest does not match the seats and other stitching throughout the vehicle. This lifts up. It has a storage compartment here, so you can put some stuff, just some small items. Rear view mirror has a manual day and night mode. Then you have interior lights here, so you have a quick reading light for the driver and the passenger. You can turn on all the interior lights by putting it over this way, all off, or if you put it in the very center, it'll turn on the interior lights when you open the door. The visors are quite big, so they kind of extend down below the normal visor size, and has this little place to put some paperwork or whatever here. Mirror with a little tiny light. Relative to the size of this visor, it's kind of small. And this is like a vinyl. It's kind of covered in a vinyl material. does have this little extension here that you can add to your coverage. When you put it over here, it doesn't slide like some. Now this is kind of better. I kind of like this better because you're actually adding to your coverage instead of just shifting it over. So that's pretty good. Basically the same thing on the passenger side. So let's take a look at the visibility in the back. So you can see the pillars back there, pretty good sized pillars, but it's not really a big deal, all things considered. Now it depends on how many passengers, you know, getting in the way or whatever. But of course you have the blind spot detection system, the full camera system, you know, lots of parking sensors, lots of the things that, you know, help out with the visibility and just parking and maneuvering and stuff like that, changing lanes, all that kind of stuff. Thank you for watching, and thank you to North Strand Nissan for providing the vehicle, and I'll see you guys next time.